so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Before
Thanks
we
for having
wrap
me.
up, I have one final question I ask all my guests, which is, what would your number one piece of advice be for the younger generation? It can be around anything. Doesn't have to be with what we've talked about.
My piece of advice is none of the adults alive today know what the hell is going on and what the future is going to look like.
Yeah.
So don't listen to any of their advice, including mine. Feel what's deep inside of you, what's yearning to be born, and just go for that, and go for it with such commitment that you don't have a plan B, and reach out for help along the way as best you can, but just keep running towards that thing that you're yearning for, and don't listen to any of the other voices.
Look for challenges and take on risks. I think it's really good. You can do that when you're younger. You've got less responsibility. If you're waiting for the perfect time, it's never going to happen. So many people want to start a business. So many people want to travel. So many people have these great ideas, and taking in action is an action. I would much rather take an action, fail, and at least say I've given it a go,
And learn from your failures.
and then continue on. So yeah, take action, be courageous, and give something a go.
Yeah, and anyone who's listened to my other episodes knows I'm a huge believer in taking risks while you're young, because you've got no kids, probably. No kids, probably basically no responsibilities. It might feel like you do, but you don't in the big picture. You know, if you're still living at home, the worst case scenario if you take a risk is you might lose a bit of money. You're still going to have a house over your head, a roof over your head, sorry. You're still going to have, you're going to be fine. Versus if you've got a wife and a kid, or kids and they're relying on your income, and you take a risk and eat it, and now you're like, what do I do? I just think, taking challenges and risk is great.
I think so, and it's all on you. It's your responsibility. You get to drive it and do what you want. And if you fail, you fail. That's the worst that comes.
Awesome.
I think it would go back to knowing yourself, to be honest with you. I think that insight into making yourself the number one thing you're curious about, it just helps with so many things, from relationships to career, to branding yourself as well.
You said by know yourself, you say knowing what you want.
Knowing yourself as in having insight into who you are,
Yeah.
What your strengths and weaknesses are.
So as we mentioned before, as I mentioned, my weakness was finer detail and getting in the nitty gritty.
Exactly. It could be something also like you're trying to be something else because you believe that that's what you should be.
Or what your parents want you to be.
What your parents want you to be. There's this quote that I read, and I'll finish on this. I won't keep reading, but this quote that I read while I was at uni, and it really was a turning point for me, and it was one of the top regrets of the dying, which was, I wish I would have lived a life more true to myself, not the life others expected of me.
Yeah.
And I think the only antidote to not living the life that others expect of you is to stop and actually go, okay, what is it that I want? And that is a constant journey. Like, that will keep you busy for life, I think. But that allows you to make so many decisions in every aspect of your life that allows you to be a happier and more fulfilled person. I think that's really powerful.
What you just mentioned has almost never been more difficult with comparison in social media, Instagram and everything. It's like you want to be what, TikTok, whatever it is, you want to be what gets likes and what gets clout and what people engage with, even if it's not true to who you are. So, super important.
Like in high school or at university, I think, first of all, it's okay to not know what you want to do. That's like the biggest lie about life.
Society and everything.
Nobody, even like 80-year-olds, or like successful, CEOs, they still don't know what they're doing or what they want to do every single day. You can be sure of it one day and unsure the next, and that's just normal. So that's the first thing I'd say. And then the second thing is that just because you don't know what you want to do doesn't mean all hope is lost. You just have to dip your toe into different waters to figure out the things that you're liking and not liking. And figuring out what you don't like is just as important as figuring out what you do.
My number one piece of advice would be the advice that if I could go back and chat with my 17-year-old self, it'd be the exact same thing. And that piece of advice would be, start now, you truly know what you want to do, stop listening to everything else, including those limiting beliefs in your own head. Start now. Understand it's not going to be easy. You're going to jump and you're going to fall on your face more times than not. But continue through and through until you do find the success, until you do find the win, until your book becomes an international New York Times best-selling book, until your book is read across the globe, until it does truly inspire others to catch their dreams. Continue and start now and continue to go after it until all of that happens. That's what I'd say.
Don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't give up. Keep pushing it. Don't give up. Yes, you're gonna get setbacks. Yes, you're gonna get people who hate you or who are gonna be competitive against you. Gonna say some things that are gonna really make you feel unhappy, uncomfortable. Yes, you're gonna be alone for a period of time. Sometimes you're gonna look around and there is no one in there. Just don't give up. Anything in your life, do not give up. You can let people giving up on you, but you do not give up on people. Giving up on people. If that's the only thing you need to learn in your life, it's that one. If you've got two things to learn, that's number one. Number two is discipline.
Yes.
That's it.
Shouldn't have brought this up so late in the show, but yes, 100% agree with discipline.
So one of the things that made me who I am is actually the two things that made me who I am is those two things. Never give up, and I'm disciplined in what I do. If I need to work 16 hours, I will. If I need to wake up at 5, I will. If I need to, sleep at 2 and be up at 5, I will. No excuse, no Saturday, no Sunday, no happy birthdays, no nothing. It doesn't matter what's happening around me, right? So those two things, they made me who I am, and they're probably gonna actually keep me going for a long time, right? Not comparing myself to anybody,
Just
happy
yourself.
where I am, right? Always comparing to myself, and I'm so happy when I wake up every day because, oh yeah, I can feel how much better I am from yesterday.
The one piece of advice I would offer is patience. That there is plenty of time, that your mark, your ATAR doesn't define you. People will forget about it pretty quickly. You'll probably forget about it pretty quickly.
Within a few weeks, honestly.
Yeah. And there are so many opportunities out there, and wherever we come from within Australia, certainly there are some of us who are far more privileged than others.
Yeah.
But by and large, if you've come through the secondary education system of Australia, you're in a pretty good position relative.
You're ahead of the majority of the world, yeah.
So take the opportunities, appreciate the opportunities that affords you. Be patient and back yourself. Experiment. I think that's the other thing.
You went from arts to...
Don't focus too much on what you're doing. Just focus on doing it well, or doing your best in it. Because a lot of people, they might do sport because their parents made them. They might go to school because they have to. They might, do anything because they have to do it and just be like, oh, I hate this, and not try. But I think the issue with that
they'll
line
say,
of thinking,
this isn't going to help me in the future.
Right.
It's like, how's karate going to help me in the future?
Right.
But on your resume and everything.
Well, it's just as a person, that's part of me. That's part of my character. That's, we're all going to die. What is anything going to help you in the future? Because in the end, it's finished, right? I don't know whatever religious kind of things you have, but if you think you're going to heaven, karate isn't going to help you in heaven, right? Nothing's going to help you that much in the future. The idea, I think, is just doing things for the sake of doing them, for the sake of getting better, for the sake of enjoying the process of improvement. So I think a lot of people fall into the trap of saying, it's not going to help me in the future. I don't like this. I'm just going to waste my time and not try it, right? But the thing is, you're going to be at school, you're going to be at karate for 6 hours a day or 1 hour a week, whether you like it or not, whether you try or not. So I think in terms of, return on investment, you may as well put time in, you may as well put effort in and get value out for your time, because whether you try, whether you don't, you're going to be there anyway. So
yeah, exactly. And as you mentioned, when you do this stuff, like opportunities just start opening up. Like this is the whole reason I brought you on the podcast.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to go for a job interview, you can put a podcast on the application.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many people are going to have done an interview on a podcast? Like, it's just little things like that and stuff. Yeah. And it's just I think so much comes down to mindset and getting rid of the victim mentality. I think our generation suffers from it with comparison and Instagram. Like, oh, I'm not on the beach. I'm not doing this. Didn't get the scholarship. I didn't get this. And so you kind of have that victim mentality.
And it's also very much kind of in society now, whereby you can't put anyone, like there's no, if anyone says anything negative about someone else, it's instantly, oh, they're horrible. Oh, they're this, they're that. And there's very much a culture where criticism is totally just not encouraged at all.
Yeah.
And what it means is that when someone does get criticism, they fall to pieces, right? So I think one of the main things that have been really helpful for me is that my dad has always been, always poked fun at me for whatever I've done. If I was, if I lost a race or whatever, he'd be like, oh, how's second place? All that kind of stuff. And as a kid, it's like, oh, that's mean. But as you grow up and you think, he was saying in jest, there was no issue with it, but it kind of builds an extra layer of resilience and ability to take that. And whenever he said, I'd be like, oh, all right, well, I'll get first next time, show you how stupid you are.
Yeah.
So it's, I think also taking on criticism in the right way and taking responsibility, like you've said. Absolutely, I'm invaluable.
Yeah, there's so many things that I could say to that, but I think overall it's really about I think the most valuable asset that you have is your character, and part of what you need to always be is to be a kind person, be a good person, because your reputation is kind of like everything. And if you're always good to people and people always remember you as someone that was kind, honest, hardworking, genuine, then you'll naturally attract lots of opportunities to you. But if you're unreliable and you are rude and you
late all the time,
or talk down to people, or you just act like a spoiled brat, then don't expect anyone to open doors or to create opportunities or to want to go out of their way to help you. So stay humble, work hard, be a good person, be kind to everyone that you meet, and that will help you to really go places in life.
Yeah.
7 words. Do more than is asked of you. That's it.
Yeah.
Do more than is asked of you. You do that your whole life, you got to remain in the shade.
Yeah.
Whatever they say do a little bit more, and just do that consistently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because most people won't.
No, they won't.
Once again, it's not that hard to stand out.
Yeah.
We think everyone else is doing more. They're not. Most people drop the ball.
For me, even though I had this set path, things went wrong along the way. I got jobs that I didn't get into the jobs that I might have wanted to, and things like that happened. And I think every time I was open-minded to the experience, it ended up being the best thing ever. But every time I was like, I can't believe that happened. I can't believe I didn't get that job. And I really ruminated on it. It was awful. So it's being open-minded to whatever twists and turns life's going to take you on.
If it could be one thing, for the sake of, unfortunately, for the sake of repeating what we've talked about,
that's fine.
It's just that I think I needed to start with that audience of none. I say something a little bit different in the chapter, but really, because of the big picture of how it all kind of worked out. So I was like, I really needed it to go that way, but it was really that audience of none, because I was very afraid. I was scared of figuring out I wasn't actually good at film. I didn't realize I just need to start being bad and get better. And when you care about your audience of none and just doing it for yourself first, and doesn't matter, everything you do after that's a bonus. That's what I need to hear, because then I would have just done small things and then just slowly gotten better, and I would have helped people that way. But now we can help people a different way. But I think that would be it.
Love it.
We spoke about it, to go high risk, high reward. I have it tattooed on my hand, actually. Chase your dreams.
Love it. That's awesome.
Just people, especially young people, this next decade, if you're leaving school, is going to be the most critical point of, I hate to say critical, but it's going to be a very important life. It's
going to shape who you are.
Yeah, it's going to shape what career path you're going to be. And if you are going to regret like not doing your passion when you're 18 years old and you get to 35, and you're always going to have that resentment and wonder, oh, what if I went and traveled? What if I pursued that travel vlogging and now you're like in a crappy 9 to 5 that you don't like? That's probably the worst point in life that you can get to, when you resent your previous experiences. So I think chase your dreams and just go for it, like high risk, high reward when you're young. And then worst comes to worst, maybe when you're 25, 30, go get a job, go to uni. I mean, we're still like, especially in like Sydney in Australia, as I said, like I'm never gonna have to worry about starving or shelter. Like we're so comfortable, we're always gonna be here like living.
But this is what we say, like so the enemy of a great life is a good life. And so in Australia we have a great good life, but it's 6, 7 out of 10. It's very comfortable. It's not enough for us to get out of it, because we don't have that pain that people in India have, as you mentioned. And it can be a trap. No, but I think just go for it. Just think if you're happy, what is going to make you happy, and just do that every day. Maybe after a year it's something else that's going to make you happy, and go for that.
So I got 2 things here. So the first one is the presence piece. I fundamentally believe this. I think everyone should start thinking about what moments they feel like they're really in the moment, right? What is their nows? Are they constantly in the future or the past, or are they actually in the present moment? So I think that's something everyone should think about. And the second thing I want to say is that through my short 21 years on Earth, the 2 biggest things that I've realized that set someone up for success in whatever their own definition is 2 things, right? The first is finding what you're curious about. If it's talking to people, if it's, photography, whatever, find what you're curious about. And the gap year may be an awesome time to do that. As we've talked about, exposure and tasting, right? Find what you're curious about, and make sure you're genuinely curious. Make sure there's no element of, it's transactionally curious. Like, I want to work for Byron, so I'm going to go do this thing with them. If I'm actually curious about him, let me reach out to him, right? The second thing is a growth mindset, right? Try and accumulate this feeling that you can do anything you want to do, anything that you set your mind to, and you're only constrained by your work ethic. And I think that again only comes to exposing yourself to things. Just get out of your comfort zone, and I think after a few periods or years of trying to do this, you'll get this feeling, which I think is the most liberating feeling in the world, and that's like, I can achieve anything I set my mind to. And again, I know that sounds cliche, but there's a good TED talk on this, on the growth mindset. But I think that's the one thing that sets people up, right?
Everyone I've had on the show talks about the growth mindset. And I talk about it all the time. It's like, once again, I understand it sounds cheesy. It sounds almost like a cult. Like everyone's like, you got to get a growth mindset. And it's like, it's up to you. If you don't do it, that's fine. But we are, trying to give you advice. You need to have a growth mindset.
All the lessons out there, right? On this podcast, there's so many lessons out there. People just need to go out and do it, right? And taste things. And another thing is, I think just for this generation is get out of your head and into your body more. Or get out of your head and into action, right? We can go through so many scenarios in our minds of how these certain things will play out and stuff like that. Like before this, I was like, okay, how's this podcast going to play out, right? It's our hardware, right? We're trying to survive, and that anxiety can creep up. But instead, like as soon as I started doing this, there was not all that went, right? It's just like get out of your head and into your body.
I think stay connected physically with your friendship group, whether that's inside school or outside of school. I think being part of a community and a club is of significant value, like whether that's like a sporting club or like an art or book club, whatever, like, because that then allows you to be out there and engaging with society. And if there's one thing we know through COVID, right, is that we like want physical contact, we want engagement, 100%. We want to be part of a community, we don't want to be cooped up in a room. Sure, some people are introverted, but like the majority of us want to be out there and living and breathing it. So make sure you create that environment.
Can I just add on that? Because I love what you just said, and the way I like to say it is the system. So the cool thing about clubs, about church, about that sort of stuff, is it creates a system where it's you meet up every single week. There's no, do you guys want to hang out this week? It's just not every Sunday, the family goes to church, or every Saturday we play soccer together, and then we get beers afterwards. And so someone who finished school, high school, and all my friends went to uni and we all had part-time jobs, it's just chaos because you've got all these different schedules, and I went months without seeing my friends. And so by joining clubs or, finding a system that works, like something that's every week. I know guys who every Friday they'll go out to and get dinner at this club, not like a dancing club, but like
restaurant pub or something like that.
SR, I forget what it's called. But basically they go out there every Friday.
Yeah.
It's just easy.
Yeah.
And so I think it's so important that you join those sort of things, and it just makes life a lot easier.
Yeah, totally. Routine is the thing there,
Routine
right?
is a great
That's like
word,
really helpful. And it gives you something to live for and look forward to.
Yeah.
Another thing that's hard about COVID, most people like to travel. And you haven't got the affordance to think about that. So I think also another program that we run at Batir is called Looking Out for Your Mates. And I think just like, like look after yourself, but also look after others as well. Like show that caring and compassionate side, because you might be in a fortunate position, or you might also be in an unfortunate position, but like if you're open to the idea of having conversations and helping people, then like you're a good human, and you'll make a positive difference to your friends and the society as a whole.
My advice for 18-year-olds or anyone in the younger generation is to find the life that works for you. Like stop trying to be somebody else, and stop trying to, like, even if someone inspires you, like think about why they inspire you, and really think deeply and listen to yourself rather than listening to the noise around you. Really diminish what, even if it's like what your friends are saying, what your parents are saying, what, people you really look up to in your life are saying. Like think about what is it I want, what is it that will truly make me happy, and like stick to that and work towards that, and don't lose sight of the goal, right? Like it's so easy in business to just go for money. It's so easy in like relationships to just be like, I want, to be hedonistic, right? It's so easy in finance, just like keep chasing, and just like tune into your spirituality, tune into who you are, whatever spirituality means to you, but tune into like who you are and how you actually are operating. And if you're, a good test for me is like in 3 to 5 years, Bella, and you look at yourself in the mirror, are you going to be proud of that person?
Right, yeah.
Looking back at you.
A great question. One of probably the most powerful question I've heard in a while is, if you got told you're going to die in 5 years, just you'll be fine, and you'll randomly die on this exact day in 5 years' time, what would you do differently? And 5 years is great, because a lot of people say,
1 year.
What if you're going to die next year? Well, strippers, cocaine, travel, whatever it is, you'll waste your life because you've only got a year left, or 6 months. But 5 years is long enough where you can't just go partying for 5 years. It's long enough where you have to actually do something that's kind of meaningful, and that have a think. Like, for me, I feel like, I just keep doing what I'm doing. Because that's why I feel like I'm very aligned right now. And so that's a great question, I find, that is, very similar to what you just brought up.
But seriously, try everything. And it comes back to what you were saying before about getting to know yourself. You don't know yourself until you put yourself into weird situations.
How could you?
Yeah, you just don't. But I think unless you try a whole bunch of stuff, you're just never going to know what's your passion. You're not going to know what lights your fire. You're not going to have the chance to have that feeling, that gut feeling, which tells you, like, speaks to you on like another level, like, look further into this, or there's something here, like keep going, keep uncovering. And it's not until you actually, until you put yourself in those situations, those weird and wonderful situations where you're like, you know what, I don't even know why I'm going to this event, but just go, just try, just do it,
Who knows what's going to happen?
Nike, please sponsor me.
Just do it.
Yeah.
It's a great slogan, just do it. Like, it sums up so many different things.
Yeah, it does.
And I talk about the trying or tasting or whatever. And the trap is, and I'm sure you've probably got lots of friends who've seen this, I've seen lots of people who do this, they won't try when they're younger, and then they'll, kind of not give up on their dreams, but they'll go the traditional pathway because it's safe, it's secure, that's what their parents told them to do, what society told them to do.
Yep.
Now they're 35, now they're 40, going, you know what, I'm a bit sick of this. I really haven't enjoyed what I've done. I'm going to try what I want to do.
Yeah.
Why wait until you're 40 to do that?
Yeah.
Now's the best time to do it. You've got no kids, you've got no family, you've got no one to look after.
So true. Let me tell you that from personal experience.
Yeah, you've got a kid. So you would imagine how much free time you have if, you didn't have a husband or a kid. It's just you.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like just folk, and so much less stress because you've got to bring in money now. You've got someone you look after.
That's it.
Well, I think something that I was actually really thinking about when like this was scheduled. It's like when I talk to 18-year-olds, like they have like the best ideas. Like when it's like, well, if you could start a business, what would you do? And they have like the craziest ideas, and I'm like, well, why don't you do it? And they're kind of like, well, I don't want people to see me fail, or I don't want to be seen like starting this small, or I don't have the money, and it's like all these excuses that we kind of make up. And it's kind of like, well, stop making excuses. Like if you do it, and I mean, like, look, if you fail, like I started my first business, I think I was 15, and it failed like a year later, and I was like devastated after. But I mean, like if I didn't fail then, this one would not have been.
We said there is no failing, there's only winning
and learning.
Yeah, winning and learning.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed that podcast special. As I mentioned, we've got lots of new episodes coming out soon. They're going to be over Zoom because of the lockdown situation. To give it a context, it's the 20th of July 2021, whenever you're listening to this. But thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you enjoy this style of episode, please DM me. Please let me know somehow, because that will encourage me to do more of these. Obviously, I've got a lot of episodes. I could do quite a few more of these. And please consider leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. Literally, it is one of the most difficult things in the world to get people to leave reviews on this. I can barely even get my friends and family to do it. So whenever people leave the reviews, I see them all. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And that's it for now.